That's why I got it.
But you were very pretty in the film.
Well, I must tell you, the same thing happened again. I had been flying with my husband, Brian Ahern. We had a plane. And we came in from a trip and thought we'd just stop at a bistro and have a little spaghetti and go right home. And I was in pigtails and no makeup on and just flying clothes. And the director came over, who was Edmund Goulding, a great English stage director. And Brian said, "Hi, what are you doing these days? Come and sit down." And this is my wife. Very English, this is my wife. And so Brian said, Edmund, what are you doing? What's going on? He said, "I'm having a terrible time. I have to produce for Warner Brothers a great big star, but she's got to be skinny and a child, and she has to look as though she's dying of consumption. Now, how about that?" And I said, "Well, how about it? How about me?" And he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Joan Fontaine." He said, "Perfect." You fit the part. I got it the next day.
Oh, yeah. But it's true that you were very shy, you, as a girl.
Well, married to an Englishman, one's very shy.
Why?
Because the Englishman's home is his castle.
But you divorced anyway.
Yes.
And suddenly you became wicked. You play Ivy, for instance. And,
Oh, yes.
And Born to be Bad.
Yes.
Why? Then you
Well, you
wanted...
can't keep on the same thing. I was typed as it was, unfortunately. Yeah. And once you're typed, you only have so long a career that people get bored with that. And also, you can't show the audience and the producers that you have other facets to your acting ability.
You didn't. You felt that you had to show that other face to the audience.
Well, I got bored with him too. And after all, as we used to say about Doris Day, she was the only 40-year-old virgin in pictures. When you just can't go on being that.
In the 50s, you played one film which was very publicized as something like a scandal, which was Island in the Sun.
And in that picture, Harry Belafonte was the most beautiful man ever. I believe he kissed me.
Yes,
and
he
that
did.
was shocking.
I have the film. He did.
He did kiss
Yes.
me. Well, how could I forget a thing like that? But I got letters from the Ku Klux Klan. I got terrible letters.
Which was the real problem?
Well, we had not had the blacks, as we call them now, were in the back of the bus. They weren't allowed to be in the same restaurant with you, let alone kiss you. So that was an innovation. And I am glad that it was, and I'm glad things have changed.
What happened when you have been a star all your life, and suddenly you came into maturity? Is there any, that was a problem in Hollywood?
I moved away. I wasn't going to wait for that one. So I moved and lived in New York and had a wonderful time. I lived in New York for 25 years.
You went into theater. I remember you were in
theater. I've done a great deal of theater, and that was grand. And I had my own television show, and I've done a lot of television movies anyhow. And that's enough. That's fine.
You work with so many actors that has become themselves, and by their own right has become legends. I would like to ask you, for instance, Orson Welles, you played.
Very difficult man.
Yeah.
You know, I've worked with 2 or 3 actors that don't like acting, that dread acting. Jennifer Jones was one. She's a lovely friend, but she got terribly nervous and perspired. Orson would do anything rather than complete a scene. He'd make a fuss, he'd do anything. He'd pretend that he was ill. Mario Lanza, the same way. They hated the camera. I love the camera.
You also work with, well, of course, Gary Grant. How was Gary Grant?
Very precise, as I said. He knew his camera angles, his lighting. He came fully prepared. He was, of most actors I've worked with, probably less concerned with the other actor than with his own performance. On the other hand, Charles Boyer cared more about your performance than his own. And you could feel it. And you could feel the love and the kindness in him.
Is there any actor working with you that you have come to hate, that you couldn't stand him? Someone who made you things difficult and all those things.
Yes, you know, we're all professionals, and whether we have our private feelings or not, we try not to show them.
What about Mrs. Danber, who hated you so much in the film?
Judith Anderson.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't exactly chummy, let's put it that way.
She wasn't charming.
No, I wouldn't say she was.
She was a great tragedian, I think.
I would say she was playing her role on and off the stage.
Oh my God, that should be hell. I would ask you, is there any role you wanted to play and you haven't?
I have so many hobbies. I've flown a plane. I've ridden to hounds. I've won a balloon race over Rotterdam. I garden, I needlepoint. As I said, you know, I'm in the theater. I cook. I do so many things that I never waited to find out about that. I'm too busy doing other things.
¿Por qué estás tan pálida? ¿Temes por mí?
Solo lo sabré cuando Rebeca esté libre.
Será pronto.
Pero seguirá Ivanhoe siendo Ivanhoe. Un hombre dividido son dos hombres.
Continuaré siendo Ivanhoe.
Tal vez sí, tal vez no. A ti te concierne elegir, no a mí ni a Rebeca.
¿Crees que acudo en su ayuda porque la amo?
Contestaría si supiera dónde acaba la piedad y dónde empieza el amor.
I want to introduce you my new guest, a great Spanish writer and a real gentleman.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Where is he? José Luis. ¿Cómo estás?
Lovely to see
He
you
will-
again.
he will help me
Very
now.
nice. You're looking exactly the way you did when we were in,
5 years ago.
yes, San Sebastian.
Yes.
At the film
At the
festival.
festival, I introduced her to
You had introduced Miss Fontaine.
Lovely to see
How
you.
do you stand the mediocrity of our actual life?
Of our what life?
Our actual life, the modern life. You
Because
were talking
of-
about the golden
Well,
years.
as a writer, now, what absolutely floors me, an actor has to play many roles. But as a writer, you have to play the female roles and the male
Yes.
roles and all of them. How can you speak like a 5-year-old child if you're writing it?
I never, never found an explanation, but it's a sort of a miracle, I must say.
It's extraordinary
Yes.
to do that.
Yes.
I think it's one of the greatest gifts ever to be
Yes,
a writer,
I believe so. Yes.
because you must be so many people.
And 76 films behind me as an actor too.
76
Six
films. Because of your scripts or your novels?
No. I made my first film when I was 40 years, was the famous film The Lovers of Louis Malle. And then they called me from Hollywood for Breakfast in Tiffany with Audrey Hepburn.
Which, if you had to choose between one form or the other, which would you take?
Writing,
Writing.
definitely, yes.